And staying with Indian markets, one share is clearly bucking the trend here, and that's Zee Entertainment. It's on a race to the bottom. Those from India will know about this company. It's a media conglomerate. It operates television channels, streaming platforms, and also production houses. But right now, it is in crisis. Just look at the numbers. On Friday, Zee shares were flying high, almost 244 rupees per share, 244 rupees per share. That was on Friday, and now it is down to 160 rupees. Zee Entertainment dropped 31% in one trading day. How did that happen? Because a multi-billion dollar merger, in fact, was called off. It all started in 2021. Zee and Sony announced a big move. As you know, Sony is a global media giant. The company is headquartered in Japan. Their Indian arm decided to merge with Zee. It was very big news. Both companies have a sizable presence in India, so together they had immense potential. The merger was valued at $10 billion. But on Monday, Sony scrapped it. They said, no deal. Now, the obvious question is, what happened? Sony's official statement says a couple of things. A, merger conditions had not been met, meaning Sony was not happy with what was on the table. And B, time ran out. They had to close the deal by January 21st, but that date came and went. So Sony decided it was time to walk away. Turns out they're also suing Zee Entertainment. And what's the claim? Almost $90 million in damages. That's what Sony wants. Sony says Zee violated the merger terms. Of course, Zee denies this. They have hinted at legal action of their own. Now, this much is in the public domain. But what was happening behind the scenes? A leadership tussle. That's essentially what brought down this deal. Let me explain. There's a big question after every merger. Who will lead the new business entity? Here, the first plan was to appoint Punit Goenka. He's the managing director and CEO of Zee, also the son of company patriarch Subhash Chandra. But last year, a bombshell dropped. India's market regulator SEBI began investigating the father-son duo. They suspected misuse of company funds. Basically, money was being siphoned off. And how much money are we talking about? Initial reports mentioned some 200 crore rupees. But the new number is much higher, anywhere between 800 to 1,000 crore rupees. That's $120 million. So last year, SEBI cracked down. It said Punit Goenka cannot lead any listed company. That ban was later reversed. But Sony had seen enough. They wanted someone else to lead the merged entity, someone without baggage, which is why the merger talks broke down. Zee did propose some alternatives, but Sony did not like any of them, and that brings us to present day. What does this falling out mean for the Indian media landscape? Let's look at some numbers. Sony has 31 channels in India. Zee is said to have around 45. Both companies also have their own streaming platforms, ZEE5 and Sony Live. Sony Live has around 12 million subscribers. ZEE5 has around 7.5 million. So a merged entity would have been massive. Essentially, especially in the current context. Most experts agree that streaming is the future. Its current market size is around $1.2 billion. By the end of this year, it could be $1.4 billion. And by the end of the decade, more than $3.6 billion. So there's a lot of money to be made, which was the whole idea behind this deal. If the merger went through, a major cash infusion would have happened. A new entity would have had $1.5 billion in the bank. Imagine what you could do with it. New and improved content, better interface, more live sports events. All of that could have been possible. Other companies have also realized this potential, like Disney Hotstar and Viacom18. Hotstar is the market leader in India. They have more than 42 million subscribers. Viacom18 owns JioCinema. They own the media rights of the Indian Premier League, the IPL, also the Indian cricket team's bilateral matches. So the merger makes sense. You have entertainment on one side and sports on the other. Sony and Zee also had similar plans to completely revamp their businesses, to challenge the big boys of OTT. So it's clearly a setback for the Indian media space. More for ZEE5. They clearly needed an extra boost to find their mojo. I guess they'll have to keep waiting now. It's also a bad look for India Inc. We keep talking about greater synergy, about foreign firms working with Indian ones. But for that, we need higher standards. You can't have promoters cooking books and siphoning money. You need transparency. You need good corporate practices. Unfortunately, Zee Entertainment seems to have failed that test. We can't afford more of these. We need global businesses to respect Indian firms. But as they say, respect is earned.